We're headed into a very, very difficult period as Palestinians. More land confiscation, more war, more killing, more building of illegal colonies, and gradual expulsion, gradual ethnic cleansing from villages, from communities, as is happening in Jerusalem in particular and around Jerusalem, in the Jordan Valley, and in the Negev desert. Ethnic cleansing is ongoing. It never stopped. It's what we call our ongoing Nakba. And Israel is appearing more and more to the world as it really is. A state of military occupation, settler colonialism, and apartheid. Now it will be very, very difficult for anyone around the world to claim, oh no, Israel seeks peace and seeks to respect international law. No one will claim that after the next election. Now, this is important at this moment to call out the hypocrisy of the French government. The French government is the absolute worst in the world in terms of criminalizing BDS. The Israeli government does not criminalize BDS. So we're not asking for very difficult, extreme things. We're not asking France to adopt BDS. Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet. But we're asking France to observe its obligations under international law, which currently it's not respecting. France is complicit in Israel's violations. We want the French state to stop its complicity.
But now it's too much difficult, I think, for a lot of people to criticize Israel without saying that they are Jewish and they're sure.
But I think it's a revisionist definition that says if you call Israel an apartheid state, it's anti-Semitic. If you say Israel was created through the ethnic cleansing of most Palestinians, it's anti-Semitic. If you call for a boycott of Israel, it's anti-Semitic. Then what's not anti-Semitic? I mean, this conflation between opposition to Israel's policies and violations and anti-Jewish racism is very dangerous. It's very dangerous for Palestine, for Palestinian rights, because they're criminalizing our history. We cannot say our history without being accused of anti-Semitism. They're criminalizing our non-violent BDS movement. But it's not just dangerous for Palestinians. It's very dangerous for Jewish and progressive struggles against real anti-Semitism. And at the same time that Israel is using this weaponized, revisionist definition of anti-Semitism, it is in bed with the world's biggest anti-Semites. From Orban in Hungary, to Bolsonaro in Brazil, to Detente in the Philippines, to Modi in India, to Trump in the White House. And Le Pen, and the Freedom Party in Austria, and Alternative for Deutschland in Germany, and Geert Wilders in the Netherlands. All the anti-Semites of the world are Israel's best friends. If Chinese companies start getting involved with Israeli violations, as the French companies are, as Alstom and other French companies, we know how to hurt Chinese companies as we hurt French companies. After the latest Israeli massacre in Gaza in 2014, our partners in Kuwait pressured the Kuwaiti authorities, and they excluded Veolia from two contracts, one worth 1.5 billion and the other worth 750 million. So together they were $2.25 billion that killed Veolia. They couldn't take it anymore, and they pulled out. So we know how to make companies listen. Chinese, American, we don't care. If it's a company violating our rights, we'll fight back. Veolia has a big operation in the Basque countries. We went to visit them to explain our boycott against their company. We want to work together to bring your company in line with international law so that you don't lose your jobs and we don't lose our human rights. So increasingly, BDS is not looked upon as outside on its own. It's part of the anti-fascist wave around the world. We see ourselves as part of the anti-fascist, anti-xenophobic, anti-white supremacist wave around the world. And fighting for Palestinian liberation is part of the general justice struggles around the world.